going on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy John Liquid, and today we're heading straight into the heart of chaos, Indiana Fever style. If you thought last season was dramatic, buckle up, because what's happening right now is next level. This isn't just an off-season. It's a high-stakes, multi-layered chess match that could define the future of the franchise, the careers of stars, and the narrative of the entire WNBA. Let's set the scene. The Fever came so close to reaching the finals last year. Fans were dreaming of championship glory. The city was buzzing, and the team seemed unstoppable. But then, in the blink of an eye, the season unraveled. Caitlin Clark, the player everyone built the team around, went down with an injury in July. The offense that flowed through her suddenly had a new rhythm. Kelsey Mitchell, Artie McDonald, Sydney Coulson, and other players stepped up, and for the first time, the Fever realized something critical. They could survive without Clark, but that survival has turned the off-season into a nightmare puzzle. Here's the thing most fans don't understand. The Fever's off-season challenges aren't just complicated, they're catastrophic. Injuries tore through the roster, contracts are expiring, and the CBA negotiations have frozen all movement, leaving the front office paralyzed. What's worse, last season's chaos exposed a critical truth. The Fever don't know which version of the team is real. Was the near-finals team the true measure of their potential? Or was the injury-laden survival mode the reality they need to prepare for? And here's where it gets really tricky. The media narrative has shifted. When Clark went down, everyone expected the team to collapse. But instead, the story became about depth, resilience, and unexpected heroes stepping up. Mitchell became more than just the second option. McDonald proved she could run a rotation. Coulson became a legitimate contributor. Suddenly, the Fever front office is dealing with not just roster decisions, but psychological leverage. If these players now believe they can lead, they'll demand compensation, power, and influence. And that's before you even consider salary cap constraints. Let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell. The woman has always been a scoring machine, but last season she showed she can carry a team. She's no longer just the backup to a superstar. She's a proven leader who can create, score, and control games. And that's terrifying from a management perspective. Locking her into a max deal could mean committing to a two-star model alongside Clark. Letting her walk risks losing a player who just proved she can win without your superstar. There's no easy decision here. Every option comes with enormous consequences. And don't sleep on the injuries. Stephanie White's coaching style, high-intensity, maximum-effort basketball, works until it doesn't. Last year, bodies broke down. Mitchell had stretches where she struggled with ball-handling responsibility. McDonald tore her ACL. Clark's health is fragile. The team's rotation was destroyed. The front office now faces a choice. Continue playing the same high-octane style, or adjust the system to protect Clark and their other stars. It's a brutal decision, because whatever choice they make, someone is going to lose. Then there's the CBA. Frozen negotiations have locked every move in place. Contracts, salaries, and team-building strategies are all on hold. Fans are watching. Media narratives are exploding. Other teams are ready to pounce. This isn't just a pause, it's a ticking clock. And once the freeze lifts, every top player will be targeted by multiple franchises with deep pockets. The Fever must act fast, and the window for smart decision-making is rapidly closing. But the stakes go beyond roster management. Caitlin Clark's legacy is on the line. She's now officially in the AP's all-time starting five of college women's basketball players, alongside legends like Cheryl Miller, Candace Parker, Breanna Stewart, and Diana Taurasi. That's incredible, but it's also pressure amplified. Her professional legacy is still unwritten, and if the Fever mismanage the offseason, it could turn what should be a historic career into a what-if story. So, what's the Fever's reality heading into this offseason? They must balance multiple priorities simultaneously. Secure Mitchell or risk losing a proven superstar, rebuild depth in the guard and front court, positions destroyed by injuries. Decide. whether to continue White's high-intensity system or adjust for player longevity, navigate frozen contracts, salary cap uncertainty, and intense media scrutiny. Build a championship-caliber team without compromising player health, chemistry, or long-term strategy. Every decision is a domino. Sign Mitchell, and you commit to the two-star model. But how do you handle inflated salaries for McDonald, Coulson, and other breakout contributors? Let her walk, and you bet everything on Clark staying healthy, while hoping your supporting cast elevates fast enough to compete at a championship level. Fail at any one of these, and you risk turning Clark's professional career into a cautionary tale. This isn't just roster management, it's legacy management. The front office isn't just balancing contracts. They're balancing history, perception, and the future of a franchise. Every choice echoes beyond Indiana. Fans are paying attention. The league is watching. Media narratives are shaping player leverage. One misstep, and the Fever's offseason could unravel before the next tip-off even happens. In short, the Indiana Fever are at a crossroads. Injuries, contracts, coaching, fan expectations, and legacy pressures collide in a perfect storm. And as the clock ticks toward the start of the new season, the question isn't whether the Fever will make moves, it's whether they can make the right moves before it's too late. Stay with me, because this story is far from over. We're only scratching the surface. In the next section, we'll break down the emergence of new heroes, the players who stepped up when Clark went down, and the exact roster dilemmas that now define Indiana's offseason. Trust me, things are about to get even more intense. All right, everyone, now that we've set the stage, let's talk about the real story behind last season, the emergence of the unexpected heroes who kept the Fever alive when everything seemed lost. When Caitlin Clark went down, most fans expected the team to crumble. I mean, she was running the offense, creating opportunities, and carrying the scoring load like the superstar she is. But instead of collapsing, something remarkable happened. The supporting cast didn't just fill in. They stepped up in ways that no one saw coming. First, let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell. The woman has always been a scoring threat, a sharp shooter capable of carrying a team in bursts. But last season, she proved she could do much more. With Clark sidelined, Mitchell became the team's de facto leader, taking control of the offense, directing plays, and creating scoring opportunities for herself and her teammates. It wasn't just about putting points on the board. It was about running the team, making clutch decisions, and showing that she's more than the second option. And that, my friends, is what makes her off-season situation so tricky. If she believes she can carry this team, why would she accept anything less than top-dollar compensation? Next up, Artie McDonald. This woman is the kind of player every coach loves. Tough, smart, and versatile. She became the defensive spark plug, constantly making plays that didn't always show up in the stat sheet, but completely changed games. Before her ACL injury, she was running the point, distributing the ball, and even taking key shots. Her emergence as a legitimate playmaker sent shockwaves through the front office. Suddenly, Artie isn't just a role player. She's someone whose presence impacts roster decisions, salary allocations, and even coaching strategy. Then there's Sydney Coulson, who quietly became a cornerstone of the team's survival. She took on responsibilities she wasn't initially expected to handle, stepped into scoring roles, and helped maintain the offensive flow. The bench rotation, which had been carefully planned around Clark, was completely shattered. And yet, Coulson adapted, evolved, and contributed at a level that forced everyone to reevaluate her value. And we can't forget Sophie, another bench player who had to shoulder responsibilities in crunch time. Multiple players rotating in and out, taking turns creating opportunity, keeping the offense alive. That's survival mode, not strategic brilliance. But survival mode sometimes teaches lessons no practice can. The Fever learned that their system wasn't built entirely around Clark's scoring. It was a versatile machine capable of functioning even without its superstar. But here's the catch. While this versatility saved their season, it also created a massive off-season headache. When everyone stepped up, their individual stocks skyrocketed. Mitchell now believes she can be the primary option. Artie McDonald's value has never been higher, despite the ACL tear. Coulson is no longer just a supporting player. And suddenly, the front office is staring at inflated salaries, heightened expectations, and zero margin for error. The very success of the team without Clark has created a leverage problem, one that could cost the Fever in money, talent, and long-term flexibility. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The Fever's front office had a relatively simple plan when the season began: build around Clark, surround her with shooters, and make a run at the finals. But reality didn't care about plans. Injuries hit, roles changed, and the players who were supposed to be supporting characters became the story. Mitchell, McDonald, Coulson, and others weren't just keeping the team afloat. They were showing the league that they could lead. That revelation? Game-changing. Think about it this way. Championship teams don't rebuild every year. They have continuity, chemistry, and a core that stays intact. But the Fever? They've been in crisis mode since drafting Clark. And now, they face the biggest gamble yet: keeping Mitchell, rehabbing McDonald, integrating depth players, and protecting Clark's health, all while staying competitive in a league where every other team is improving. And that's where the psychological dimension comes in. The media narrative shifted last season. Clark's injury forced the spotlight onto other players, which, on paper, is a positive story. But in reality, it created power dynamics within the roster. Mitchell saw that she could lead. Artie McDonald's reputation rose. Coulson is now recognized as a reliable contributor. These developments don't just impact contracts. They impact player leverage, morale, and the strategic direction of the franchise. Let's zoom in on Mitchell again. She's in a unique position. She carried the team, proved she could make critical plays, and showed leadership. From a financial standpoint, she can demand a max deal. From a career standpoint, she can choose to test free agency if she feels she deserves a primary role elsewhere. For the Fever, this is a nightmare scenario. They built everything around Clark, but inadvertently created a situation where their second star might not want to remain second. Meanwhile, injuries continue to complicate the calculus. McDonald's ACL tear is a major red flag. Will she return at the same level? Can she stay healthy under White's high-intensity system? These uncertainties ripple through every decision: who to sign, how to structure rotations, and what coaching adjustments are necessary to maintain performance while protecting players. Here's the reality: the players who stepped up saved the Fever's season, but they also set the stage for one of the most complicated off-seasons in WNBA history. What was once a simple plan, build around a superstar, is now a complex web of leverage, finances, health, and psychology. And if the Fever make a misstep, it won't just cost games, it could cost legacy. The emergence of these heroes tells a story of resilience, adaptability, and grit. But it also tells a story of high-stakes negotiation, potential conflicts, and impossible decisions. Every player who proved themselves last season now carries weight. Every performance has consequences. Every injury, recovery, and contract negotiation is magnified. The offseason isn't just about roster moves, it's about managing egos, expectations, and the future of the franchise. So, as we move forward into the next section, keep this in mind. The Indiana Fever are facing a perfect storm: depth players who became heroes, stars demanding contracts, injuries threatening stability, and a CBA freeze that locks the front office in a pressure cooker. This is more than basketball. It's strategy, psychology, and legacy rolled into one high-stakes puzzle. In the next section, we'll break down the coaching dilemma, explore Stephanie White's high-intensity system, and explain why the very style that made the Fever competitive last season could also be their undoing. Now that we've seen the rise of new heroes, let's talk about one of the biggest challenges facing the Fever: Stephanie White's coaching system. High-intensity, fast-paced, maximum-effort basketball has made the team exciting to watch. but it's also a double-edged sword. Push too hard, and injuries pile up. Last season proved it. Clark went down, McDonald tore her ACL, Mitchell struggled at point guard, and the rotation was completely shattered. The front office faces a brutal choice. Do they stick with White's style, keeping the pace and risk, or adjust the system to protect players and preserve longevity? There's no perfect answer. Stick with intensity, and you risk injuries to your stars. Adjust for health, and you risk losing the identity that nearly brought the team to the finals. The stakes aren't just physical, they're psychological. Mitchell and McDonald proved they can lead. Coulson stepped up. If the system changes to protect Clark, will those players feel limited? Could they seek more control or even leave? Balancing performance, health, and player morale is a tightrope walk, and the CBA freeze adds another layer of uncertainty. Media scrutiny amplifies the dilemma. Last season, when Clark went down, depth players were celebrated, changing their value and negotiation leverage. Every rotation choice now impacts contracts, chemistry, and the narrative of who the Fever really are. In short, the coaching dilemma is high stakes. White's system is exciting and proven, but risky. Every decision affects health, contracts, chemistry, and legacy. The Fever must decide, maintain maximum effort intensity, and risk losing stars, or adapt and risk losing identity. There's no easy path, and the clock is ticking. Next, we'll explore contracts, free agency, and the domino effect, including Kelsey Mitchell, Artie McDonald, and how the CBA freeze could make or break the Fever's offseason. Now, let's dive into the part that keeps the Fever front office awake at night: contracts, free agency, and salaries. This isn't just about signing players, it's about balancing leverage, health, and the future of the franchise. First up, Kelsey Mitchell. She proved last season that she's more than just Caitlin Clark's sidekick. She can lead, create, and carry a team. That performance skyrocketed her value. If the Fever want to keep her, they're likely looking at a max deal. But here's the catch. Paying Mitchell top dollar commits the team to a two-star model, forcing tough decisions on supporting players and salary distribution. Let her walk, and the Fever bet everything on Clark staying healthy while hoping their depth players step up again. There's no middle ground. Next, let's talk Artie McDonald. Her ACL injury complicates everything. She proved she can be a legitimate point guard, but will she return at the same level? Combine that with Kelsey Mitchell's rising value, and the Fever face a tricky salary puzzle. Do they pay both stars while maintaining depth, or risk losing one to free agency? Then there's Sydney Coulson and other emerging players. Their breakout performances boosted their value, creating a domino effect. Reward one player, and others' expectations rise. Last season's depth saved the team, but now it could limit flexibility and force impossible trade-offs. The CBA freeze adds another layer of tension. Until salary caps and rules are finalized, the Fever can't move freely. Once negotiations conclude, every team will chase free agents aggressively, including Mitchell. Indiana must act quickly or risk losing key players. This offseason isn't just about players, it's about strategy, leverage, and legacy. Clark's college achievements set high expectations. Fans demand a championship, and media narratives now highlight depth as much as stars. Mistakes could turn Clark's promising professional career into a what-if story. 2D front office is balancing player health versus system intensity contracts. Versus Chan Tuam or salary cap limits, emerging player leverage versus team. Balance timing of CBA decisions versus free agency competition. Every choice has consequences. Sign Mitchell to a max deal, and the team commits to a co-star model. Let her walk, and they rely entirely on Clark and hope the supporting cast rises. Add media scrutiny and fan pressure, and every move is magnified. At the core, the Fever are in a perfect storm of expectations, leverage, and legacy. Retaining stars, navigating free agency, protecting health, and maintaining team identity, all under the spotlight. makes this one of the franchise's toughest offseason. How they handle Clark's return, Mitchell's demands, McDonald's rehab, and roster depth will define the team for years to come.